got here a few months ago, first spring at UCF. How's it going?
It's going great, having a blast. When you have really good people in the building, it makes adjustment really easy. It's also not bad whenever it's 80 degrees and sunny every day, so the family's loving it. We got a great group of guys, staffing, players, so we're having a ball.
What kind of drew you to UCF and to be on Scott Frost's staff?
Right. Well, when your previous school goes 1-11, you don't stick around for very long. So we were looking, but no, God works in mysterious ways. An opportunity came about. There's some people that I know that had worked with Coach Frost before. Coach Jimmy Beal, our running backs coach, and I worked together at Utah State, and so there was some familiarity, and just an opportunity comes up, and luckily I didn't screw it up too bad, and that's how I got here.
What has stood out about your guys?
Yeah. Oh, so the last 9 seasons I've been offensive line coach, but I played tight end in college, and now coming back to this position, I'm the luckiest coach in America because I'm taking over a room that was coached by the offensive coordinator the year before. So the room I'm inheriting knows the offense as well, if not better, than everyone in the building. I've got one of the most accomplished tight ends coming back with Dylan Wade, with the amount of targets, yards, and catches he had last season. Caden Pennings is as good as any redshirt freshman in the country. Really excited about what he's doing. Grayson Brousseau is a guy who I was with at Utah State, Oklahoma State. We had a need, a void. In that time in early January, if nothing else, you're looking for a guy you can depend on and coach really hard. And I know exactly what I'm getting out of Grace, and he's a great teammate, great worker, so he's a great addition. Thomas Wadsworth, I think he's been here as long as anybody. Was a walk-on who's worked his tail off during a scholarship, and just a vocal leader, just brings a great element to the room and a glue to the offense. And then Brooks Hall, the true freshman, has come along great. I think he's put on 15 or 20 pounds since he's gotten here. So the tight end room right now, we're nowhere where we need to be, but great group of guys who are coming together, and it's awesome. I mean, tight ends are the most demanding position in college football outside of quarterback. You have to know the formations and routes and pass protection, run game, and then you're on special teams. So they've been great for me because if I've adjusted in having to learn formations and pass game for the first time in a long time, they've made the transition as easy as anything.
When you look on tape and when you through the first couple of weeks of practice here, what have you noticed about the run blocking and how do you try to improve that position at tight end?
For sure, I think something that happens with tight ends is everybody wants everybody wants dessert first, right? They want the big catches and the touchdowns and the yak and all that good stuff, and that's easy to work on your own. It's brushing your teeth every day. It's doing the boring, monotonous things every single day to help you get good in the run game, and that's where we gotta step up. And as a former O-line coach and run game coordinator, our run game was always best when the tight ends are a factor and are great at point of attack. They're a weapon. They're not a liability. And so for us, every day we're working just boring, simple things like driving the second foot through the defender, great eyes to the target, great first, second step, rolling our hips through contact, just all the little details, playing with our hands out in front, and the guys have really taken to it. I can imagine as a tight end, you get told that an O-line coach is about to come coach your position, you kind of roll your eyes because you think you're going to have a neck roll and a middle bar and a face mask before too long. And the guys have really taken to all the detail of the run blocking, and it's showing. I think the backside of our zone game right now, doing stuff at the second level, again, nowhere near where we need to be, but every day we are getting closer to where we want to go.
Coach, expectations for Dylan this year to pick up where you left off?
For sure. I think for Dylan, the next element in his game is to be proficient in our F position, which is our slot receiver or our lighter tight end where we go our 12 personnel. He's done a great job. I will say this about Dylan, he's not as big as your prototypical Y, but he is violent, he's aggressive. What's really stood out for me with Dylan is just he has a genuine love for his teammates. And that's showing up right now with how he's blocking downfield, he's finishing plays. There's a lot of things. We've got to clean up some details with his footwork and his pad level and sustaining and finishing blocks. But he's got an eagerness and a willingness, and he sets the tone for our room right now. He's the guy everybody looks to coming back, and he needs to step up and be a leader, and he's done a good job so far, and we just got to continue to work him to do a great job.
From a production standpoint, it's a nice chip to have back.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, that's whenever I played tight end way back in the day, the cliche was a tight end is a quarterback's best friend, and for everything we can do underneath, where we can flood areas and bring him back across. We're again, being a coach at Oklahoma State last year, in the first play of the second half, seeing them flood, get 4 eligibles to the boundary, and you see number 0 streak up the field and break everybody's heart if you're wearing orange that day. And so the weapon and the tool that he is, it's exciting to work with.
Coach, I know
idea
that
of a
cliche
perfect-
is being security blanket instead of best friend. The opportunity to get snaps with Alonzo hasn't been there,
Right.
but how valuable is it to get the backup quarterbacks that same chemistry with the guys?
Well, yeah, I mean, reps are reps for us, right? We're going to find something, whether we're doing a walkthrough, we're going against the 2s, the 3s, the 1s, 9-on-7, 7-on-7. Every rep has a life of its own, and we need as many as we can get. The guys I know in the offseason, they're still getting work whenever it's not a physical contact thing, and they're still building time. And ultimately, it's connection and love with somebody, right? And how do you build that? It's time. And so they're still getting time with one another. We got plenty of time till August to deepen that relationship as well.
What is your kind of prototypical tight end in your mind? What makes a good tight end? How about that?
Well, so from a physical standpoint, it's all based on who my offensive coordinator is, right? How are we going to use them? That dictates how big they need to be, how fast they need to be, what they excel at. Regardless of offense, regardless of play type and scheme, we need someone who chooses violence, someone who has an eagerness and a willingness to strike, athletic enough to get in all the positions that they need to be. Get to the spot, right? A safety's come downhill, can I beat him to the spot on the perimeter? I've got a 5 or 6 technique I got to cut off. Am I athletic enough, have mobile enough ankles where I can drive and stay in good position and get on the inside half of the defensive end? Obviously, you got to have good hands. Growing up, I always thought track helped you. With football, I think being a baseball player, the ability to track a baseball helps with hands as much as anything. So, ability to track the ball with good hands, an eagerness and willingness to be violent, and just a mobility to get to the spots. And then the rest of that is Coach Duvall's going to get them big enough, and we're going to teach them what to do, and the rest is just what God and their parents gave them.
You had some praise for Caden Painting. You said he's one of the best redshirt freshmen in the country. Just what is the early prognosis? What's the early scouting report on Caden? How is he doing?
He's big, he's smooth, he's athletic, and he's aggressive. He's done a great job. He's a big body, 6'5.5", 250 plus. Running in the seam. He's a big target. He's done a great job when the balls come to him. In the run game, again, he's the guy in the room who right now can probably match up best with a 5 or 6 technique. So he's done again anything and everything we've wanted him to do. Where D Wade might be a little bit more slippery, he has to be because he's given up 25, 30 pounds, whereas Caden's got that size. He doesn't have to be quite as quick to a spot or as elusive because he just gets to use that big frame. So both those guys are fun in different ways. You can use them in the same offense. It's just they have different strengths that you get to exploit.
What do you like about this offense?
What I love about it, I mean, you look at it, what one man has done, it's easy to do again, right? And so Coach Frost has been here with this offense and went undefeated. So what's happened before can happen again. The explosiveness, the versatility, the ability to get the ball in multiple people's hands, speedy. Today hit a couple big ones to Derry. I mean, we're able to put the ball over the field, and then you bring in the element of what Scoop brings in just the 12 personnel sets, the ability to motion and shift. I've never been a part of an offense that resembles so much of an NFL offense with just our versatility. And it looks like a ton of stuff. It looked like a ton of stuff to me. I was having some anxiety when I first looked at the playbook. It's like, holy smokes, like there's all these shifts and motions and formations and lingo, and you sit in it for a week or two and just how simple it becomes. And just day to day, we can be very, very versatile and truly present a different flavor to a defense week in and week out.
Coach, one thing that Oklahoma State did well last year was actually not getting a lot of penalties called on them, like top 40 or top 40 of the nation in that, top half of the Big 12. How do you bring, UCF had their bit of an issues with penalties last season, so how do you bring that over to here, whether it's with the tight ends or maybe help with the offensive line a little bit on that?
Well, I think, last year you look at this, Coach Frost, it was his first year here. Everything happen. You're putting a roster together really fast. The coaches are getting to know one another. It's just there's not a lot of continuity, so you're spending so much time just making sure everyone's going the right direction that sometimes some detail can fall off. You look at Oklahoma State. Coach Gunday had been there forever, right? I mean, he'd been there a long time. So I think this year there's more of an established identity of who we want to be and how we do things. So now we get to coach more of the detail of how to be disciplined. What I love about Coach Frost, though, I've never been a part of a staff or a program where guys are truly encouraged to, I don't want to be corny, but to be brave, to be bold, to take shots, to go make plays. And I think at times that's going to bite you, right? And that's where, again, we as coaches, we got to rein it in. Another year smarter, another year together, another year of continuity where we can tighten some of that stuff up without losing the boldness of teeing off and taking shots and making plays.
Coach, given the fact that that the tight end group, some of the tight end group didn't have their own position group coach this past season, what's it been like building a connection with these guys? How responsive have you been to having their own guy like you?
You'd have to ask them how they feel. I love it. It's been a lot of fun. I'm used to coaching 18 to 20 guys in a room. You're spread pretty thin. I'm trying to watch 5 at one time, and now to go where I only have 5 guys in my room right now, and I get to run off the field like a man after every series and give individual coaching and immediate feedback to those guys. And so Coach Scoop, again, he did a tremendous job coaching these guys and putting them in great positions last year, but that's a lot to ask of somebody to do high-level offensive coordinating and scoring points and managing 11 and still give attention to 1. So it's been a lot of fun, I'll put it that way. I've already had the guys over to eat. We have a lot of fun in our position room, and again, because I have such a high-quality character kid and professional kid in my room, it allows us to have more fun. So all the good stuff that we have is all credit to the 5 guys in my room right now.
How much do you bench press?
I hit 385 a couple weeks ago, so it's all show no go. It's just to keep my wife excited and to keep my bluff in on my guys. That's all it is.
Is it motivating, you think, for the guys to see their position?
I hope so. I think we can, what I do is I hold the bag an individual and I just let them try to beat the hell out of me. I'm 253 pounds, sit in there, and it makes me feel, I can't run with them. I'm too stiff, too slow, and too old to do any of that stuff. But no, I hope that whenever I'm talking to them about nutrition, putting on weight, I've been there, I've done that, and that's an important thing for me, and I love what we do in the weight room, Coach Duval and our nutrition staff, that all is really important to me, and I think it's rubbed off some on our guys.
You broke out your own tape yet?
No, that will never get broke out. Whenever I moved to D-line in college for a reason, right? I could catch stuff, I just couldn't catch up to it. And then when we went air raid, I flipped over and played D-line my last 3 years. That was on purpose. That wasn't by accident. So there's no going back to relive the glory days of the tight end.
Coach, you talked about the air raid. How much is the air raid and what Scott does here? Are there similarities from the 2 offenses that you
I think I'm not it's the air raid. I have certain feelings about it. We can discuss later on at more private time. But what I do think, what that offense has done, why it became so popular, is it just puts people in places. It attacks the defense where they're not, right? It's multiple. You can attack with 5 weapons. I think we do that. I just think we do it in a more aggressive mindset where we're going to run the rock down people's throat as well.
You listed 5 tight ends. What's the plan as far as incorporating Dylan Murphy?
Right. Well, we're really excited about Dylan. Recruited him back in January. He was for at the time wasn't right situation. We were waiting for some dust to settle before we brought him in, and we're very thankful and grateful that we gave him the opportunity. He still wanted to jump on it. Right now, Dylan's I believe 265 pounds. So he's going to have. The challenge I have for Dylan is we have such a great tight room that he's going to have to come in and build some relationships and earn his way in, and that's the most important thing. I think we have the tightest unit on the team, and I want to keep that. I treasure that very, very close to my. But he's a big body that we hope can get in there and help be a force in the line of scrimmage. and we'll see. I mean, there's a lot that he's got to make up for not being with us this spring, but I think he'll come in and help us in the fall.
Coach, you alluded to this earlier about how, you've been an offensive line coach for a long time now, switching over to tight end. Yes, you had playing experience for a while, but it is switching positions from a coaching standpoint. So what's it like to kind of make this shift in terms of your coaching career and having to coach a different position?
Yeah, it's great. I haven't lived in the past, I haven't had to worry about signals for the last 9 years, which is awesome. Now I'm having to remember, okay, what's the signal for this and that? It's great. It allows me, I feel like at practice right now, being a part of special teams and being a part of getting the pass game, 7-on-7, all of that. Like, I know the defense so much better now than I ever did as an offensive line coach, because I'm working with them in teams. We're just around each other a little bit more. It's great. Everybody aspires to ascend in the profession. My goals as a coach, I want to be somewhere where I can compete for championships, I can make an impact, and I can be a good husband and a good father. If that means someday I'm a coordinator or a head coach, great. That's a blessing God's going to give me. If not, so be it. Right now, Coach Frost has given me an opportunity to coach for a Big 12 program that I think can compete for a championship. I get to impact some awesome kids, and I get to see my wife and kids all the time. So life's good. And I think this is just setting me up for the next thing in my career, whenever that comes.
You just talked about the wife and kids. How is the family like living in Orlando?
Oh, it's so we actually live about a mile away from the stadium, and so I've got 3 boys, Bowen, Briar, and Briggs. My wife is the only reason I'm where I'm at today is because of Sam. She's the head coach of the house. She's been phenomenal. She's got the boys in the school, all their activities. She comes to practice. We kind of figured out our little niche in area of Orlando. They love it. We've been to Disney, 3 of the Disney parks already. My boys are spoiled. They think you can swim in February now. They are hosed for the rest of their life, because it's like we lived in Utah 2 years ago. There wasn't no swimming until like July. So right now they're getting spoiled and they absolutely love it.
All right.
Thanks,
Coach.
Coach.
Awesome. Thank you all so much.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.